In this short video clip, I would like to demonstrate how to enable the automatic selection of the circuit breaker rating in SmartElectrical on based of the full load ampacity. So here I have the classic example of the standard direct online motor feeder with the circuit breaker as the circuit internal. So in SmartElectrical, when you open the common properties and select the rated power, for instance 10 horsepower, so the system will calculate the full load current, and based on that value I would like to rate my circuit breaker, also considering the operating mode of the load. If in case of the continuous operating mode, so I would like to use the 80% correction factor to size the to select the rate of the circuit breaker. So when I click OK and go to the properties of the circuit breaker, so I would like to see the current rating equal to the standard value of the circuit breaker rating from the reference table. So in this example, the full load ampacity of the load is 10.4 ampere, so multiplied by correction factor 1.25, so I get the 13 ampere as a required ampacity, and the first standard rate of the circuit breaker is 15 ampere. So if now I modify the rated power of the motor, let's say to 15 horsepower, so in that case the full load ampacity will be 15.6 ampere. By clicking OK, I will have the application to automatically rate the circuit breaker, okay, to uprate it to the 20 ampere. So because the full load ampacity of the load is 15.6 ampere multiplied by the correction factor 1.25, it gives me 19.5 ampere, and the first available rate of the circuit breaker is 20 ampere. So how to make it possible in SmartElectrical? So first of all, I create the rule in the rule manager. So in this rule, I relate between the circuit breaker and the motor. In the consistency criteria, I define here a few actions or a few tasks. So where I copy the manual value to the FLA calculation flag for the circuit breaker. So also I copy the full load current from motor to the circuit breaker. Also I copy the operating mode from the motor to circuit breaker, and a rated voltage in this case. Okay, so then in data dictionary manager, I go to the equipment item type, and for the full load current property, I define here the prog ID, validation ID actually, that will point me to the external application. So in that external application, so I wrote the example of the code of the external application, where the SmartElectrical looks into this method, do validate method, and here I put some logic to rate the circuit breaker. So first of all, I apply this logic to the circuit breaker item type, and in case my load operates in the continuous mode, so here I multiply the full load ampacity to the correction factor 1.25. So otherwise, if the motor operates in the non-continuous operating mode, so the required full load ampacity will be equal to the full load current. The calculated circuit breaker rate will be exposed to the current rating property of the circuit breaker. So here is the method that I use to select the current rate of the circuit breaker. So I put here as an example the standard rates 15, 20, 25, 30, 35 amperes. Right, so once the application calculates the required ampacity, so it finds the next rate of the circuit breaker. So you can expand this code and to source the standard rates of the circuit breakers from the lookup table in SmartElectrical. So if you go to the SmartElectrical in the reference data explorer, you can configure your lookup table for the circuit breakers here. So I made here some example. Okay, you can define the standard table to select the rate of the circuit breaker based on the rated voltage and the number of phases. right? And you can read this table, select the standard rate of the circuit breaker from that table. So this is also possible if you expand this example of the code that I developed, for instance. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching.